Hi, guys. We are fresh off a trip to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And today we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of our experience. And that's coming up next on the Oceaneers Travel Show.
Hello. Welcome to the Oceaneers Travel Show.
I forgot you were here.
That happens a lot.
Hi, friends. Welcome.
I can leave. I can leave if you want me to.
Yeah, I'll keep you around a little while longer.
So, anyways, as she said at the beginning, we just came back from Busch Garden, Williamsburg, our first time ever going there.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot about this park, and we are here today to give you a downright honest opinion.
And it is our opinions and our opinions only. We were not paid in any way to give these opinions. These are completely our observations as first-time visitors to the park who had done a lot of research beforehand. Because if you know me, or as you will get to know me as we take this journey together, I am a planner.
I am not.
I am very much a planner. So
I didn't look up a thing about it before.
I know a lot going in and still have some opinions. So we'll get to that.
I'm a go and let's see what happens kind of guy.
Yes, he's throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
I literally pack in 2 minutes.
I plan.
She plans her suitcase
and my outfits. And yeah, if we're going to Disney, you got to plan your outfits around the ears. So
not me. I look and see if it's clean and throw it in a suitcase and we're good.
Got to check the weather.
No, we don't have to do any of that. So anyway, we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ugly.
We are. We're going to give you the honest opinion.
But before we get into that, there was some news this week.
There was a little news this week.
It's a little light this week, but there is some news.
We always going to get some news stories in somewhere. So before we get to our meat and potatoes, we'll do a little appetizer round with some news.
Well, let's start it out.
What we got first?
Well, I'm going to take one stab at this, and we're going to start with the hurricane.
Oh, Tammy.
Miss Tammy. Tammy coming through.
Tammy. Now, by the time you're reading this,
Tammy, stand by your man.
Where Tammy might be, but Tammy was wreaking havoc on the Virgin Islands.
She was. They closed.
They've closed most of the cruise ports
in the Virgin Islands because of Hurricane Tammy. This does happen from time to time.
Yes, it does.
Not often.
We do choose to cruise this time of year, and we have been rerouted and had some mishaps due to hurricanes
on more than one occasion.
But I'm here to say that do not make that a deterrent of you booking during this time of year. Cruise lines are very geared towards safety, and they will go around the storm.
They will, and you can get some fantastic prices this time of year.
Sure can. And the good thing about hurricanes is you usually know where they are. The big swirly thing on the radar.
And they're very well equipped to go around them.
Yes.
We only really got bad once.
Most of the time, if you're going to the Eastern Caribbean and there's a hurricane, you'll end up going the Western Caribbean and vice versa. So yeah, don't let that scare you away. But check with your travel professional. You may have some itinerary changes that may occur because of Tammy. So just be aware.
So check out Oceaneers Travel.
Yeah.
So that's our first story this week. Just a minor inconvenience for some people. Have to reroute a few things, but everybody should be safe. Safety is the first priority.
Yes.
So,
and trust me, these islands don't want to be closed no more than, you want them to be closed. So
if you have a cruise,
hopefully we'll make it out of this unscathed with very minimal damage and be back open within no time.
But if you're on a cruise right now and you were scheduled to go to one of them ports, sorry, but it'll be all right. They'll find something else fun for you.
You will have fun regardless.
So we're going to move on to our second news story of the week. Again, staying with cruising.
Oh,
this one's got me a little bewildered.
Can you spell that?
I cannot, but I am that. I'm sure I could spell that. Bewildered.
Yeah. Is this that 3-year cruise that doesn't have a ship or something?
Yeah, this is the cruise without a ship.
Which
I am so confused by this. By the way, I'm going to speak directly for just 1 minute to the people who booked this cruise. When you are done with this cruise, whether it goes or it doesn't go, if you get a refund, whatever, I am offering a special cruise right now. I have a 10-year cruise that I will be selling coming up. You can call me and book with me. This is a 10-year cruise. It goes to 1,000 ports. It leads out of Boise, Idaho. So if you're interested in this, it's the low price of only $70,000 per room for a 10-year cruise. It's a great deal. But you do have to get to Boise, Idaho to debark on this cruise. So please give me a call and we will book you on this cruise. We don't have the ship yet, but it is in the works. So go ahead and reserve your space now because it will be limited and it will go fast. But you do have to be able to get to Boise, Idaho.
Is it going to be on wheels first?
So.
And then is it one of those aqua carts?
We're still working out the details. But $75,000 will reserve your spot on this cruise. So go ahead and get a hold of me now and this 10-year cruise, 75. It's a great deal. 75,000 for 10 years and 1,000 ports. It's fantastic.
It's going to be huge.
Yes. So go ahead and get in touch with me now. We will get you booked on this trip. I wonder how many calls we're going to get.
We need like a 1-800 number to pop up on the screen.
I guarantee you somebody's going to call. And we look forward to hearing from you.
You guys, you cannot take anything he says for anything. You guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this cruise.
Well, this whole story is
Life at Sea is the company.
Life at Sea.
They marketed and sold a 3-year cruise without a ship. Apparently, they had planned on purchasing an Ada ship, which Ada cruises out of it's a German cruise ship company.
And according to them, it's still happening. They're still going to purchase the ship.
But the purchase,
they promise.
There's been some issues with the purchase. And this thing is supposed to set sail on November 1st. And they still don't have a ship.
Yeah. So how in the world
does this work?
I'm wondering the same thing. Number one, how in the world do you get to the point where you can sell a cruise without having a ship? Second off, how do you get people to actually be convinced to book a cruise that doesn't have a ship? That would be my first thing. If I know that you don't have a ship, I ain't booking with you. I mean,
well, and some of they've sent out,
how does it even happen?
And this sailing was supposed to, like I said, leave November 1st from Istanbul, Turkey. And now they're telling everyone, be prepared to leave November the 11th from Amsterdam,
which is just a short 4-hour flight.
Yeah. So, hey, by the way, you've spent, $40,000 plus on this.
$38,000 for an inside stateroom, which if really ain't bad for a 3-year cruise if it happened.
1,095 days, 382 ports, 140 countries. So, I mean,
it sounds fantastic.
It sounds great, but they don't have a ship.
They forgot to mention the whole you have to row part of it.
Yeah.
You're rowing it yourself. You may have to swim to some ports.
This one is very comical. And to those of you out there, if any of you are on this that are listening, my apologies on behalf of them because they obviously didn't think this through.
Yeah, we're not trying to make fun of anybody, but come on. I mean, some common sense has to kick in at some point, and if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. If that should be really your first question, especially on a new cruise line that you're not really familiar with or heard.
How can they market and sell a product that they don't have is my thing. Like
it never should have been allowed to get to that point.
That almost seems like some kind of fraudulent behavior. But.
Well, I'm sure that there has to be some regulatory people involved in this that approves it or, whatever before it gets going.
Yeah.
How does it get to that point?
Not sure.
So I hope your cruise happens, or I hope you get your money back. I have a feeling this isn't going to end well for a lot of people.
We're going to keep watch on this because this is an interesting story. So we will find out what happens and we'll let you know.
Yeah, just
Because I'm intrigued.
The cruise without a ship.
Yeah.
So, in our last news story this week, we're going to touch on a subject here. It's not really something that we touch on a whole lot, but
It's not really news, but it's kind of a subject that is a little personal for us, I guess.
I'm pretty happy-go-lucky most of the time. I don't really worry about things, and I just kind of let things be what they are. There was a specific, I'm not going to mention any names, but there was a specific YouTuber on YouTube here recently that posted a whole hour-long video and he's done it before, but just totally bashing what people call Disney adults, which I hate that term anyway, but it's got a negative thing to it for some reason. He did a whole video just totally bashing them and making fun of them, and they have to go get the new cupcakes every time they don't have, or new flavors, and they got to spend money on merchandise, and it's just so senseless. And this actually has been going on for a while, since really 2019, 2020s, when everybody really started bashing these people, which I consider myself one of, and not ashamed at all. I don't understand the hatred that people have for other people out there.
And this may be just a ploy for views, like clickbait.
It could be. It could be.
But
Rolling Stone did an article about this in Rolling Stone magazine.
There are so many people out there, and I see it all day, every day in chat groups online and on Facebook. And I think social media has given people the ability to be like, what do you call them? Keyboard warriors, where, you hide behind a keyboard and you get all tough guy and you say all kinds of crap that you wouldn't necessarily say to somebody's face. But the amount of people that let their day-to-day lives be bothered by what someone that they have no relation to or no knowledge about what they do in their lives, that just mind boggles me.
It does me as well. And the hatred that people spew out there.
Like somebody out there, it absolutely hates me for wearing Disney ears as a 40-year-old woman. That just is crazy.
And why is that a problem?
Why does me wearing Disney ears bother you?
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
Well, and I've noticed, I know we are fairly new to the whole YouTube world and podcast world and whatever. We've wanted to do it for years, and we put it off until we finally just said, let's do it. But I've noticed that there's YouTubers hate each other, and I cannot fathom why. Do you think that because they watch your channel or his channel that they're not going to venture over and watch Party C's channel? I don't know how other people do it, but when I sit down to watch YouTube, I watch multiple channels about topics that interest me. I'm not committed.
I'm a planner. I've told you that previously on this.
And I have channels I watch.
And when I am planning to go somewhere, especially if it's somewhere new, like for Busch Gardens, then I'm just going to watch anything and everything I can get my hands on. And I've watched probably over a dozen creators that are, specific to Busch Gardens and Williamsburg area. And I have nothing but good things to say about all of them. I don't understand why anybody has.
Like anything else, some are better than others. But why hate on any of them? And more importantly, if you are a fellow YouTube creator or whatever, why hate each other?
Exactly.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
There are some really good YouTube creators out there creating some really good content. And it does seem to be really more heavily in the Disney realm, the hatred, for some reason. More so than other parts.
I ain't got no time for hatred. That wastes too much energy on my part.
There are some really good YouTubers out there who make really interesting and fun content. And they all have their own individual style and their own individual way of going about things. Why do they hate each other?
I don't know.
I'm not saying that they're friends or should, collaborate, but hate?
But this specific guy was so perturbed just by the fact that someone like you or I would just go to Disney by ourselves.
And we do.
Walk around and just for the Food and Wine Festival, or I have to get the newest, 100th anniversary ears, or I have to try this new cupcake that came out, or
Well,
I mean, number one, I like that stuff. That stuff appeals to me. That's stuff that I want to do. And number two, it's content because people out there want to know about it. And number three, it ain't none of your business.
it ain't none of your
It
business.
ain't none of your business what I do.
That's the most important part of it all. That griping about, well, you spend 4 times the money on this and 4 times. It's my money. I'm the one who makes it. I can spend it on whatever I want. I assure you, my financials are in order. So whatever I decide to do with my expendable income is my business.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm gonna go buy more Mickey mugs.
Yeah, if I want to spend my discretionary money on Mickey Mouse ears and Mickey Mouse mugs, or go to Disney 6 times a year, which I do go to Disney 5 or 6 times a year, at least, sometimes more. That is my choice. I also go on multiple cruises a year. That is my choice. I have worked hard my whole life to position myself to where I had the ability to do the things that I enjoy and want to do. These are the things I enjoy and want to do. I go with just me and you. We go with just me and you and our kid. We go with me and you and our kid and her grandparents. What's the problem?
Yeah, there is no problem. What it is this guy decided that he was gonna. I think this has to be just for views and clickbait because
but there's whole channels out there who claim to be Disney channels who do nothing but bash Disney.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate it, find another topic that you enjoy. Why would you invest your time and energy into something that you hate?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you decide, I hate this company, so I'm going to do everything in my power to tear them down? No, invest your energy and time into something that you like and enjoy instead of something that you don't enjoy. All you're doing is making yourself miserable, and I can't believe that people actually watch this crap.
There's a lot of people out there, their whole sole purpose, and I don't know what's going on in their lives, but are just to make content bashing other people, whether it's makeup creators or Disney creators or Universal or home DIY projects. They sit there and eventually if we ever get large enough, which if somebody ever makes a hate video about me, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so popular to get a hate video. Come on.
Hate me all you want. I don't really care. When we first started this, we did not expect to get listens, of views, anything. It has already exceeded any expectation that we had.
Oh yeah.
So I'm grateful for every single person listening to this right now. I hope that you find some entertainment and some enjoyment out of this, some knowledge, whatever it is you're looking to get. I hope that you're finding that here. If you're not, by all means, there's a million other channels out there. I hope you do find what you're looking for, and we wish you nothing but the best.
If you will never, ever see us bashing or being hateful towards anyone else because there's just no need for it. And there's no room for it here, especially on our channel. We just aren't those types of people.
I hope everybody that is on YouTube has outstanding success. Every one of them.
Absolutely.
Whether I like your channel or not, I hope that you are monstrously successful. Whether you're a podcast or a YouTube channel, I hope that you are very successful and happy in what you do. You have to look into yourself and find happiness. It doesn't come from outside sources or affirmation from other people.
And I will add a little caveat onto this. I have a professional career, and then I decided as a passion project, I wanted to become a travel advisor for Disney and cruising because that's a passion. That is a passion of mine. And so I pursued that and started my travel agency business earlier this year. And the amount of people that will not entertain the thought of booking with me is astounding because they're afraid I might have success. And, it kind of ties into the same kind of thing we're talking about here. I'm talking about friends and family that I've known for, my whole life. And instead of booking with me, I get a small percentage of booking. If you book with me, you don't have to pay anything extra for my services. They just won't do it. And I've had families and friends who reach out and they're like, yeah, plan me a cruise and see if you can get it for X budget. I do all of that things. I come under budget, and then they've gone and booked with other folks or booked directly. that's just kind of the way things are. Nowadays, people are so afraid of someone else's success that
or even just happiness.
happiness, that it affects their daily lives, which, I mean, you have to really be a special someone to sit there and think of ways to manipulate your, comrades or your family in order to try to give yourself some sort of
Validation.
fulfillment. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I don't understand. Like, I promote my other friends throughout social media. If they've got businesses or whatever, I mean, I have no problem. Even if I don't partake in the products themselves, I will still give them a shout out and say, hey, if you're in the need for this or that, my friend sells
absolutely
this. What does that hurt me? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt me.
You have friends who are also travel agents that you promote.
I do.
And that you encourage people to book with.
I do.
One person's success does not negate you having success.
We booked a cruise, Icon of the Seas, for example, through my friend, a travel agent, before I ever became one. I could have easily taken my booking and transferred it to myself to get all those commissionable rates, but she did the work.
She deserved it.
Everything that needed to be done and helped me in that time. And I'm not going to take that away from her. So I didn't. And she was kind of flabbergasted. She's like, why wouldn't you just take it free? I was like, you did the work. You're the one that was up at 5 a.m. making sure that I had this or that. I said, you deserve every bit of that commission that you get. And yeah.
And we left it with her.
And
I wish her nothing but success in her travel agency. I hope that she has monstrous success always and forever. Every other channel out there, when we started doing this, we do not make this content for other people. I hate to say that. We hope that you're enjoying it, but this is a passion project for us. We do this because we enjoy it. We don't need the money.
No.
This is not about money for us. This is about enjoyment, and it has given us a good excuse to take more trips together. And a good excuse to take more trips with our kid and with her parents, and just really enjoy life and document it.
And we enjoy what we do. And we thought that if there was any way that some of the things that we do
might appeal to other people,
help other people, then why not?
So I just want to say, and we'll wrap this up because went a little long-winded. Stop the hate. If you're at a Disney park and you see another YouTuber that you don't particularly like their content, walk on. Don't watch their content. You don't have to bash them. If you see another person in line, or a grown 40-year-old woman standing in line to get a goofy meet and greet, what is she hurting?
No, nothing.
If you see somebody, buying a $50 pair of ears at Disney World, I don't even know what they cost, but is that
$34.99, $39.99?
I figured you knew. But here's the thing: that $50 is her money.
Mm-hmm.
What she does with it is none of mine. Now, if by all means, if you're going into debt or like anything else, if you're spending money you don't have, that could be a problem. But that's not my place to inform you of. You have to take care of your own personal responsibilities. I hope those listening to this channel enjoy our content. Please send us anything. We respond to every comment that we get, and we give honest and truthful replies. So please let us know what you think. You will not get hate from us. We love everybody. We accept everybody. Even if I don't like your content, I'm not going to bash you. I'm just not going to watch your channel, but I'm never going to put anybody on blast. We will not mention any of these that we're talking about by name right now. We're just not going to do it. They're out there. You can figure it out for yourself. If they hear this and they want to come at us, bring it on. I don't care. You can hate me all you want. I still don't hate you. So I still wish you success, even if you hate me. So we're going to move on to our main story, Busch Gardens.
How can you hate anything that looks this cute?
Oh, you're a stupid Disney adult. Well, yes, then I will continue to be a stupid Disney adult because it brings joy to my life. It brings joy to our child's life. And someday we won't be here and our kid will look back and watch these videos and remember all the good times we had together.
Absolutely.
Or show them to their kids when they're older. And
look what my Meemaw and Papaw did.
yeah. So, this is, we're grateful for everybody that has subscribed, but this channel has always been about passion for us. This is what we like. And it's evolving and it always will, but this is what we're doing it for enjoyment.
So let's get to the meat and potatoes.
So, meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Yes.
We
were there last week.
Well, we started this journey going there. We were looking for places that we hadn't been. And that we could take in a quick.
And we have a timeshare.
We do.
Which allows us to visit certain places and not have to book like direct hotels.
So. We had a lot of timeshare time left to use. So we were looking for a place that we hadn't been that was within driving distance that we could take a quick 3-4 day trip to and come back. And that's how we settled on
Williamsburg. And while we were there, we were like, hey, let's do a review of Busch Gardens and see what they have to offer. The Halloween, they have Hallowscream, which is their nighttime spectacular for the spooky season. And unlike Disney, this is more geared towards the older children. It's not geared toward children like tots at all. It's a very, very scary.
And unlike a lot of theme parks, this is not a separate ticketed event.
No, this is included in your admission price.
So she did some research. She told me a few things about it. I really didn't look up much before we go, but let's get started with Busch Gardens, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Cue the music right here.
Wow, wow, wow.
Okay.
Wow, wow.
I was actually going to put the music in, but that's better. I'm leaving that.
Wow, wow.
So we're going to start off with the good. Give me 3 good things. Or do you want me to give you 3 good things?
Well, we can talk first. The park is very well maintained.
Well, okay, so we're going about the good first.
You said the good first.
Yeah, but then you said, but wait, we're going to... okay.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay, so the good. The park is very well maintained.
Yes.
I did not notice a lot of... There wasn't trash. There wasn't non-painted coasters. There was...
No, everything was painted. Everything, was...
All the landscaping was kept up.
In good shape. The pathways were, clean. Everything that was decorated was
done well.
Yeah, I mean, everything just seemed like it had a place, and that place, there were a couple of things that were down that we'll get to in a little bit during our trip.
Yeah, we're just doing the good right now. But, there was no trash cans overflowing. No, the restrooms were clean. It was well maintained. The landscaping was kept up. The coasters were all painted. The seats on the coasters were all clean. All the seat belts worked, properly in restraints. I didn't see any with bags over them or anything like that. So, I mean, it was well maintained.
Yes.
The next item on the good list, the location of the park. Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown, this whole area right here, beautiful country.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole city was just really well kept.
It was.
Just beautiful. Restaurants everywhere. Some of the best eating that we've had on any trip that we've been on.
Yes, and trip as a whole.
Yes. Just fantastic food.
It was
Shout out to Aberdeen Barn. Oh. One of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. So,
and it was very easy to get in and out of Busch Gardens. So there were signs, easy to follow.
Easy, yeah.
Told you, where basic parking was, and you just pulled up like normal turnstile parking. People there to greet you and take your money and funnel you through the various parking areas.
Tickets are well priced.
So yeah, you didn't have any issue. You could park. You could pay preferred parking. You could do, wheelchair accessible parking. And then the daily rate for parking was what, $25?
Yeah, they had trams and things to take you,
Yeah,
and
trans could
so you
take
didn't have to
you
walk
to-
it. Plenty,
Yes.
plenty of handicap parking available.
Tons of handicapped available. Yes.
Um,
Right at the beginning.
we do have a handicapped person in our family that was with us on this trip, and it
Mhm.
was absolutely no issue with the handicap parking.
Nope, we got there right as you go in. So.
Tickets really well priced for this park. That's a good.
Yes.
They were not.
Caveat to that I'll get into when we talk about the other stuff. The actual admission price for this day. Now we did go on a Sunday in October, and I paid about $52 per person for admission,
Which is outstanding.
Now, I also coupled that with a all-day dining pass, and I paid an additional $30 for all-day dining.
Which
So-
is a good deal. We did not get the value out of it.
No, and we'll tell you why. But an extra $30, so it ended up being about $82 to $85 per person.
Which is still excellent.
For admission to Busch Gardens from open till close, including the Hallow Scream, plus the dining plan. Now, the dining plan, the all-day dining plan, allows you to eat every 90 minutes from
Sorry.
park open to park close. Now, dining locations do close about an hour prior to park closing, and most of them didn't open until about an hour after
Yeah,
park open, which was a
little
bit,
concerning.
But you're allowed an entree, a side, and a drink for every 90 minutes.
so
They say that they were giving out wristbands. We never got a wristband, so I had to carry around our little ticket barcodes with us,
which was no big deal.
which was not a huge deal. But then they have to scan those and throughout the day, so little bit of hassle, but not too bad.
So location, price,
All of that
maintenance,
was-
all
was
fantastic.
good.
Also, the good, and then we'll wrap it up here. Coasters, baby. Now, if you like roller coasters, this park has them. They have 8 roller coasters at this theme park, and these are high thrill rides, most of them.
They've got some really new ones and some pretty ominous looking coasters, and then they've got some older gyms that we really enjoyed. They've got water rides and some kiddie rides. I won't say a lot, but it's very heavy on the thrill attractions at this park.
And they have them. But altogether, this has 8 roller coasters at this park. The particular day we were there, some of them were down, which was a little concerning, but that comes in a little bit later. We'll get to more of that. 19 total rides. That's a lot of rides for a park.
Yes.
So if you are there on the right time and get a fast pass or whatever you want to get, which they do have available, they're expensive, but yeah.
That the fast pass issue, they call it quick queue, and it was $100 a person,
More than your tickets.
more than
Your
the
fast pass should never be
Yeah.
more than the price of your ticket.
because I looked into it, especially as we went throughout the day and things got a little crazy. But yeah, it was $100 per person, and I looked at it prior to going, and it was actually more expensive than that. So the fact that it was just $100 was actually a savings.
So keep that in mind.
But that was a little bit of a shock for me because I only spent $82 to be there and to eat all day, and then you want me to spend $100 to skip the line? I mean, no.
But there are a ton of rides, and 19 rides, 8 coasters, high thrill coasters. The Alpengeist was my personal favorite of the ones there. It's a very unique ride, very fun. So that there is a lot to do here
There is.
as far as rides go.
As far as rides go, yes.
So that is the good.
Mhm.
Now, unfortunately, there is bad. I'm going to start it off with the bad.
Okay.
Where I'm going to start with the bad is the staff.
As everywhere is these days, it seems.
The staff
Staffing is an issue.
the staff that was there was not rude. They were not, did not seem like they were not trained properly. I never felt unsafe.
No, but these are a lot of high school kids, college kids. So
And they were few and far between.
they were, yeah. There were a couple. Not saying that college kids and high school kids can't work. I'm glad that they're there.
I never felt unsafe.
No, but there really wasn't a whole lot of anyone else around. I mean, when you've got 16, 17, 18-year-olds in charge of running these high thrill attractions, that is a little concerning that there's not more oversight, and maybe there was behind the scenes that we just didn't see.
That's possible.
And I'm not trying to take any light that these kids didn't know what they were doing. They were probably very well trained, and we did not have any issues whatsoever on any of the rides that we partake in.
By staff, my main concern and what I meant by
Was
that
the
was the amount.
Yes.
Normally, when you go to a theme park, or at least any theme park that I've been to, Disney's, Dollywood's, Universal's, whatever, you have people, obviously, when you're getting into the roller coaster cars and things like that, there's people assisting there and making sure that everything's locked properly. But outside of that, there's also people at the queues telling people which lines to go to. People at the entrance, telling them this way, or, making sure fast passes go to different. There was not any of that. I did not, when we got in line, I often did not see a single employee until we got to the actual line, the bars to get on the ride.
Yeah.
Before I ever saw a first employee.
You funneled yourself through the queues and onto the vehicles before you ever saw anyone.
Where Disney sometimes has people out there, measuring people to make sure that they can fit on the rides. None of that.
And a lot of the queues were not clearly marked.
No.
You've got the quick queue and the normal queue. And there were some where it was just like a chalkboard with a line that said entrance this way. And half erased. So
yes,
there was a lot of confusion.
It felt like they were very short staffed, and it was an inconvenience in some areas. The other bad, moving on. Food options.
Yeah, we had this all day dining pass, and there were only 4 or 5 options that we had.
Yeah.
And because the way
we ate one time,
the way that the park is laid out, it is divided into countries, and you have like in England, a France, you have a German, there's like a Canada. Anyway, you get the idea. Different pavilions for different types of countries. Some of the food represented where you were, but others didn't at all. And there really wasn't any easy options for like very, very picky eaters. In our one dining experience, it was good. I enjoyed it for the most part. We went to the smokehouse.
But this is proving your point.
It is.
It is in New France.
Yeah, it's a smokehouse with brisket, barbecue chicken.
When I think of New France, I don't think... I'm sure that they have barbecue in France. I'm not insinuating that they don't. But when you think of New France, you think of Canada, French Canadian, or France itself. You don't think of barbecue. You think of French food, croissants.
Yeah, beignet, croissant.
Or even if you're, thinking Canada, you're thinking poutine or...
Yes, and they had...
the theming is off.
Yeah, so this, it was a decent portion of food that we got.
And it was good.
And it was decent. And the kids' options, were kind of limited. Chicken nuggets that, they were okay.
They were questionable.
Very oddly looking. They weren't. Anyway, I'm gonna move on.
The food's just okay.
A uncrustable option where you could just get an uncrustable sandwich, and maybe one other thing, but yeah, for the most part, it was barbecue chicken, etc. And yeah, it was just odd.
The food options were weird. And tell me if I'm wrong. Is this normal for theme parks? My theme park experience is heavily Hollywood, heavily Disney, some Universal. I've not been to theme parks all over the country like some people have. So tell me, is this normal to have, because at Disney you can eat anything you want. Dollywood has got some really fantastic eating options available.
Yes.
Is this normal?
There was in France, they had a place where you could get like loaded fries. Then it was given a French name, but it was basically just fries with like chili or fries with cheese and chives.
Which I don't think of France. I don't think of.
And I don't think of that as like a meal that I can sit down to and eat as a meal. You know what I mean?
And also on the food options again, when you go to Dollywood, there's actually restaurants where you can go in and sit and get out of the sun and sit down at a table and have a meal.
I did not see any.
Maybe I missed that, but everything I saw was outside. Picnic table style dining where you go through a line, get your food. No, waitresses coming to your table and taking orders and things like that. Where at Disney and Dollywood, you have those.
No, it was very much cafeteria style. You go through with a tray, you get your stuff, and then you're stuck outside to eat. Which the day we went, it was a little chilly.
Yeah.
And, there wasn't any heater options or anything like that. You were just stuck at a picnic table.
So, it's not that the food was bad. It's just it was very limited and you didn't have any options. And I'm used to having that.
There were like quick service things that, we could have gotten popcorn or funnel cakes or, all kinds of other theme parky type food. But the dining plan didn't work on any of that.
Yeah.
So that was all, a la carte extra. And then by the time we were ready to eat the second time, all of the dining locations had an hour plus wait to even walk through the line to get food.
So
it was just not.
The food is definitely a bad
and
choice.
I wanted just a burger. I'm like, just find some place to get a burger. There wasn't one. They had a German option that had like sausages and bratwursts and things. And then they had
which is the only one that was actually themed to the country that I saw. Everything else really wasn't themed well.
And then there was another one that had all kinds of like rice dishes. And then there was also like pasta dishes in this one as well. It was like half themed
just very
Asian,
strange,
half themed Italian. It was very, very odd.
Which also, this leads us into another bad. And this is a biggie.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
No, tell me what it is.
Just bad design. The park is really poorly designed. I don't know if this was intentional or if this has just been
This seemed like one of those things where it was, okay, we opened this park back in the day and it was
in the 70s it opened, I believe.
It was great. And you could go here and do this and here and do that. But, oh, wait, we're getting overcrowded. Let's expand. Let's do something else. And so you just keep adding on and adding on, but you never connect anything. So while this park now is connected, it's not connected until you get to the very back of the park. And there's a lot of areas where you walk one way to get to a ride, and then it's a complete dead end, and you have to turn around and figure out where you're going next.
Almost every one that dead ends at some point somewhere.
It just dead ends, and then there's a lot of navigational issues where if you go one way, you're going to end up in another dead end and have to walk. You think you're going straight, but actually you're not. There are no park maps at this Busch Gardens. You cannot get a paper park map.
Everything is on your phone.
Frustrating. You have to have the phone and the app on there.
And I know everybody's going to say it's 2023. Everybody should have their phone.
And I agree.
And most people do, but it still should say you are here.
It did not have a locator. So, like most of your other park maps are going to have a little dot where you are. So you know where you are. There wasn't that here. And everything on the map itself was very vague, like where you were. And there wasn't a lot of landmarks. So you just kind of had to pick and choose and guess where you were.
Just a lot of dead ends.
Thank goodness I had watched a lot of videos, so I kind of knew my way around. But if I hadn't have, I would have probably been turned around the whole entire day.
A lot of dead ends, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of places where traffic's going both ways in huge amounts.
Yes. And you have
Not well thought out.
these, I call them pinch points, because you've got the major thoroughfares for people, and they're like less than, 10 feet across. And so you're trying to funnel, forward people and the people coming the opposite direction, all in these, 10-foot area, lanes even. And then, you go forward and you'll have a big opening, and then everybody spreads out. But then you've got to condense back down into one of these 10-foot openings.
So you had a lot of funnel type entrances to
Yeah.
these different lands. And again, the lands are not big, like the different themed lands. They're not themed particularly well to begin with, but they're also not big, and you're funneling in and then funneling out. So you're funneling in and funneling out. So you just constantly are getting squeezed together and then separating, squeezed together and separating.
There are a lot of hills in this park.
Tons of hills.
You were going to go completely, well, even to get into the park, you walk in from the parking lot, and then you go straight down a hill to get to the entrance. And then once you're at that entrance, you're going to go through a little bitty area that's the Britain area, and then you're going to go straight up a hill.
That's after you go through ticketing, which is another pinch point.
Yeah.
Their ticketing is ticketing, and entrance where you scan your stuff is not well done. It is a very, very tight pinch point area
where they
it's just
funnel,
not
they
well set
funnel
up.
like the people that have bags over here, and there's just one small area for that, and two people scanning tickets, and then
In which a caveat to that, I'm going to go ahead and touch on something that I didn't even mention.
Yeah.
We got in line, and we got to the person who was going to scan our tickets, and they started playing the national anthem, which is fine. However, the line we're in, the lady says, I'm going to wait until the national, or we can't scan while the national anthem is playing. So she stops and does not scan our tickets. Fine, no problem. I look over to my left, they're scanning away. I look over to my right, they're scanning away. It's just our line. This is weird to me. I have no problem if they want to stop and play the national anthem. Fine. No problem. It's kind of weird to do it at a theme park anyway. You're trying to shuffle people in. And again, the pinch point. And then you're going to stop them for the national anthem. Just don't play the national anthem. I'm not saying don't stand for the national anthem. Just don't play it here. This isn't the right spot to have that music piped in. Do it somewhere else in the park. But if you're going to make one person stop to do it, you need to make all the lines stop. It was just our line. I don't know what this girl was doing or what she was thinking.
she said that they were instructed when the national anthem was on that they could not scan anything. Now, this was not playing loudly, so maybe the other people just didn't hear it, or maybe they just didn't care. I don't know. But yeah.
And I'm not coming down on this girl. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. Just don't play the national anthem here. This is not the appropriate spot
And
to be doing a salute to the flag. I mean, I'm patriotic just like everybody else. I'm all for the national anthem and saluting and standing and hand over your heart, the whole 9 yards. This is not the place at ticketing for a theme park.
And hey, I wonder, because we wasn't in the park yet, did the New France Canada, did they play O Canada, or did they play
I don't. It was just a pet peeve of mine. I just thought it was a poor choice of location when you're already getting people backed up. This is primed to frustrate people, and in this day and age, that leads to arguments and pushing and shoving and fights. You're creating a problem for yourself. Just don't do it here. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, there's a time and a place for it. That's not it.
Yeah, the ability to navigate around the park was a big problem.
Are we moving on to the?
We're gonna get down to the downright ugly.
Let's get down to the down. That's the good, the bad. Now it's time for the downright ugly. Go ahead, and the ugliest of ugly. We'll start with the worst.
Well, the navigation. The navigation was a pain. Like I said, you
Terrible.
don't have park maps, so you have to rely on your phone, and your phone doesn't tell you where you are. So you're guessing to where your location is and trying to navigate from there. Lots and lots of pinch points.
Narrow walkways.
Narrow walkways. At one point, they had a show going on, which is a very popular show, but this show was taking place in the middle of the pavilion, and the pavilion is not very big anyway. We're talking maybe 50 feet across.
Maybe.
And they had blocked the entire walkway for this show.
And again, keep in mind at this park, you can't just go left or right. This is the only way.
This is the only way to go. So instead of making a path for people to come and go, they funneled us through a building.
Yeah, you funnel the main traffic through a building.
And we're talking like one hallway.
A single file hallway.
Everyone to get in and out. So, we had people
maybe double file.
We had people in ECVs with us, and you had to rely on the people coming out to stop and let you go in because there was not 2 lanes of traffic.
Terrible.
And then you're going down a narrow hallway inside a
which
theater.
Has got one row this way and one row this way. That's all you have, and it's narrow. So if you get two ECVs in there, they're touching elbows narrow to get through this. And on top of that, they had performers for the show back there in this area as well.
Getting ready.
People on stilts and people you're trying to funnel traffic there. Really bad design. Just horrible. Yeah. Navigation-wise, terrible. You do not close one of the main thoroughfares in your park for a show.
No.
You just don't do it.
And another issue, right close to there is that a couple of times a day they have a wolf encounter where they bring out wolves that live and are taken care of by the Busch Gardens wildlife staff.
And they were beautiful. They were fantastic.
But you've got a 10-foot walkway that goes across the bridge that houses.
And this is where you're trying to do this.
And you have people stop there and trying to get a peek, and there's nowhere for people to go.
And on top of this, it also is at the bottom of a hill and a bottom of a hill. So it's this way down to it and this way up out of it. So if you're on an ECV and there's a crowd down here, it's a problem.
I will say the whole park, getting around with an ECV is very challenging.
If you are ADA...
If you need accessibility, this is just not the park for you. I'm sorry. If you've got a manual wheelchair that you think you're going to come to and roll yourself around, it's not going to happen.
No, not conveniently.
Not conveniently.
I'm sure that it does pass ADA laws, but they are meeting minimum requirements at best because it is not convenient for anybody that's ADA.
It's not.
Anybody with a disability, it's not convenient for.
The walkways, the steepness of the hills. They do have motorized ECVs available, and maybe that's how they get around some of that, because I know going through, my schooling, any ramp or any incline is supposed to be 1 foot for every 1 foot in elevation. So for every 1 foot that you need to go up, your ramp has to be a foot long.
1 foot long.
And some of these steep hills were definitely not that. And I know you can't control the terrain,
but you can in a way when you're building a theme park.
But
it's
lots of bridges
and pinch points and narrow walkways and dead ends and just a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense.
And I will say,
just not comfortable.
Another accessibility thing, if you are the least bit immobile and you are coming to Busch Gardens to ride rides, you're going to have trouble.
Not just immobile, but also if you're plus size.
Oh, yeah.
We're clearly both plus size people. I was able to ride most of the rides.
I was not.
In a very, very uncomfortable position. These are not big seats on most of this stuff. So the only exception to that really was Loch Ness was pretty friendly.
Loch Ness is the old babe in the park, and I was able to get on her no trouble. She's just a over the head harness, and I had tons of room. By the sounds of the clicks, I probably had 20 clicks worth of room to get it over my shoulders and down. And I mean, it was a fun ride.
That was a great ride.
And we rode that.
The rides are not the problem here.
Park open, and that was the last thing that I did.
The rides are not the problem here, though.
No.
The navigation, the accessibility, terrible.
You know, as a plus size person, that you're going to have trouble going to certain parks. And I knew that going in. There was one ride that had a test seat, and I tested all of the test seats, and most of them didn't work. There was one, however, that did work on the test seat. This was Verbolten, and I got in the test seat just fine, pulled the lap bar down. It turned green a good 6 inches from where I was sitting. So I was like, yay, here's another one I can ride. I get in, and I have to take the walk of shame because they can't get it to turn green on the ride itself. So, I mean, I don't mind taking the walk of shame. It still hurts sometimes, you know.
Your test seat should match the actual ride.
Should match the actual ride.
And I know people lose weight, blah, blah. Go ahead, whatever you want to say in the comments.
I am in a weight loss journey. I've been in a weight loss journey for years, but
it is what it is.
You know, it is what it is.
These people do exist, and they are a large portion of the population.
And
show a little, you know.
I tried the test seat. Had the test seat not worked, I wouldn't have gotten on the ride. Period.
That's all we're saying.
I tried the test seat for Griffon. I tried the test seat for Alpengeist. None of those worked, so I did not get on the ride.
And it's not just a matter of them being plus size or not being plus size. It's also a matter of safety. You're having to put these people on the rides and then get them off when they don't fit. Crowd, safety, it all comes into play there, where you could eliminate this just by making your test seat accurate. Making your test seat work the way that it's supposed to work eliminates this problem.
Yes.
So
I'll have a rundown of the rides that we were able to do.
We will post a walkthrough.
Didn't, and kind of give you an idea of, you know, what you should expect.
In addition to this video, we will also have a walkthrough video about this, so you can see what we did that day. Another ugly, and this might be unfair because this may have just been the day we were there. It started off fantastic. No crowds, no lines. Everything was smooth. Pretty much walked on every ride. That didn't last. And the later the day got, the worse.
And we've been to, you know, theme parks where the mornings are always less, and that's fine.
But not to this extreme.
To this extreme, I mean, it went like from nothing to balls to the wall within a couple of hours.
Balls to the wall. I'm putting that music here.
To the point that, everything got so crowded that you couldn't get through. And it got so bad that, you know, we left before the Howl-O-Scream ever began because we just couldn't get around anymore.
Well, the Howl-O-Scream, they kept giving you a countdown, 30 minutes till, you know, hour till, 30 minutes till, 20 minutes. By the time we got to 30 minutes till Howl-O-Scream opening, the lines for the Howl-O-Screams were already over an hour.
Yeah.
Hour and a half. And this is before they even open. So there's no way you're going to get through all of these. You're lucky to get one or two in.
When we were catching the Wolf Show. The Wolf Show happened between 4:30 and 5. And then after that, we were climbing out of the hill, and there was just a conglomeration of people. And we're like, what's this for? And they were in line for the Killarney Diner haunted house experience.
Which looks neat.
Which was an hour before it ever was to open. They were already, there was already probably 100 people in line. And I was like, this isn't going to work. There's no way that we're going to be able to make this work.
This ties back into the previous, though. Navigation, pinch points, narrow walkways. When these crowds get large like this and you're already developing lines down these walkways, what was already a narrow walkway with the pinch point
and
becomes even worse.
Then you've got people trying to line up for a show that doesn't even start for another hour. So in this one area, you probably had 500 or 600 people
in a
trying to walk through, standing there with the wolf experience. I mean, it was a nightmare.
one rule in theme park design is disbursement. You want to disperse people. You want people to never cross. You want them going one direction in a circle that just is a continuous loop. At least the majority of people. This has no disbursement. Everybody just pools together. So it may have been just the day that we were there could have been a big factor in this, but the crowd size was terrible. We did not get to do the Howl-O-Scream. We apologize to you for not being able to bring you those videos, but it just wasn't happening.
No,
We left
we did.
because it was just every ride was over an hour wait. It did not help that the day we were there as well, 3 of the 8 roller coasters were down and all the water rides were closed. So we had a total of 6 of the 19 rides out of commission the day we were there. So that did not help the matter as well. Just not a great experience. We started off the day with high hopes. Everything looked great, but
And it started out good. I mean, we rode Loch Ness twice without a wait, maybe a 5-minute wait. And then you rode Griffin with Elena and probably maybe a 10-minute wait for that one.
Yeah.
Alpengeist really wasn't that long. One thing I will say also is with all of these coasters, the load and unload times are tremendously time consuming.
yes.
And another caveat for the plus size folks out there, they do have larger seats on just about all of these rides. However, they're very sporadic. There might be 1 on, this row, 2 on the next row. So you have to be able to find those in order to ride. And that will result in, moving around, or you might have to wait till the next one. So that's a little bit concerning as well. I think on Alpengeist, you have to sit in rows 4
4 and 5, I
and
think.
5. So yeah, just be aware of that. And there's not really a cast member
To help.
or to help. So you have to wait until you are let on to the actual ride
And try to
vehicle
figure this out for
itself
yourself.
to try to figure it out. And then if you can't and you can ask someone, then you might have to wait for another car to go by and try the next time after you figure it out. But yeah, so just want to make you aware of that.
And also the last of the ugly, and then because all the uglies kind of tie in together, the side activities, like, when you go to Disney, we have
filler attractions, what we call filler attractions, like your Omni Movers, your Philharmonics, or your your Big Rare Jamborees, or
your sing-along
you
shows.
can go to Tom Sawyer Island. You can do, all these other attractions.
Even the Moana that just opened
the
it.
water thing. It's
It,
a walk.
it is a walkthrough.
Living with the Land. I mean, things that notoriously don't have long waits that you can fill up your day with.
And the purpose of these is to kill time between rides.
Yes.
Or to get you out of the sun for a few minutes to cool off, or to just sit down for a minute and relax and be entertained while you do it, or to trick your kids into sitting down for a minute.
Yeah. There's not
a lot of this.
There were a few shows sprinkled around, but they had very limited times. So it might only be like a show at 11, 2, and 5. Or, you might have bumper cars, but there's only, 10 cars out there. Or there was a scrambler, and
Yeah, but it's just
but it's not, I don't know. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work, and I wished it had worked. And like you said, we had really high hopes for this park and the content we were going to be able to bring, and it just kind of imploded midday.
and we got to the kiddie area. They had a Sesame Street show, which was entertaining.
Online on their website, this has been billed as a Halloween spectacular for kids, and
it was very short.
They also had said that you could trick or treat in this area.
They had 7 trick or treat stations.
Do arts and crafts, and there were some arts and crafts. It was in a backlot area that they had opened up.
But
the trick or treat area wasn't even where they said it was going to be. We had to go to the other side of the park to get the trick or treat area.
And it had 7 stations that gave you gummy bears at every single station.
My daughter has 14 packs of Haribo gummy bears.
And the kiddie area where they said they had the activities, the coloring, and the stuff like that.
It was Sesame Street. We caught.
And it wasn't well stocked. There wasn't a lot of coloring pages available. There was a lot of used coloring pages laying around. There was one guy that I saw back there running this whole area.
And he was just walking back and forth, answering questions.
He was nice enough, but he couldn't do it all if he wanted to.
No.
And not a lot of colors, not a lot of crowns. I mean, it was a lot of just, here, fend for yourself. Here's this area. Good luck.
I did ask him, I said, hey, where's the trick or treat? And he's like, oh, well, they moved it. And, it's across the park. It's in a different, it was
terrible.
Weird. It was like, okay.
And
here's a trick or treat area.
That 7 stations, if all you can do is 7 stations, just don't even bother. You tell me you can't get sponsors for these trick or treat areas. You're telling me a Mars or a M&M or somebody's not going to send you some candy?
Haribo gummy
I don't think it was sponsored by anybody. You can get sponsors for this stuff. It happens. Also, the Sesame Street area where the show was good. It was short, but again, where they have this show,
accessibility,
it gets so crowded in such a small area,
and they have
that the flow backs out. The people watching the show backs out to where you cannot access this entire land when this show is going on. And then you already have these very narrow walkways. That one walkway wasn't probably 6 or 7 feet across.
Yeah.
And they set up merchandise booths in that 6 or 7 feet. You're trying to funnel people into an area with 6 or 7 feet and you have merchandise stands set up there. Not smart.
No.
Very just, again, everything ugly about this is navigation.
Yeah. For the most part, it is.
So,
accessibility.
Please I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who love this park. Also, they said that it had won the best landscaping award like 20 years in a row. It was okay. I mean, Dollywood is, in my opinion, Dollywood is better landscaped. Dollywood looks prettier.
And Dollywood has the same kind of vibe as far as it's kind of a circle. And there's no hub in Busch Gardens. There's no hub in Dollywood. But at least
Dollywood's a circle.
Pathways are huge.
And Dollywood does run in a full circle. Busch Gardens does not really run in a full circle. It dead ends a lot of areas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there's some people out there who love it. Please leave the comments. Tell me how you feel about it. We were not huge fans. This was probably a one and done for me. As far as Busch Gardens. Now, Williamsburg, I'd go back to in a heartbeat. That whole town was beautiful.
Want to go back.
A lot of American history there. A lot of, which we've got some stuff coming on that too. A lot of very interesting things and just really nice people.
Mm-hmm. Lovely really food.
Great food. Beautiful area. Busch Gardens, just okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give it a 4.
Yeah, about the same.
I give it a 4.
3 or 4.
Nothing special. Nothing special. I mean, it
as an overall day, I give it probably a 3. From an accessibility standpoint, I give it a 1. Let me just put this out here. If you are over 300 pounds and you are handicapped in any way, just don't go.
Or if you're just handicapped anyway, not 300 pounds and handicapped.
Or, yeah. Or,
and I'm not even necessarily just talking about wheelchair. If you have walking issues or if you walk with a cane,
if you can't lift your legs up to get like probably 12 inches off the ground, you're not going to be able to get in the ride vehicles because they do require that you lift your legs.
And we did have somebody with us on this trip that was ADA compliant or ADA, needy. And it did not work.
By the end of the day, we were having to push the ECV up the hills because it was struggling.
But that's not, even if we weren't with somebody who was ADA, we still would not have enjoyed this park. It just, it just didn't work for me, man. It just didn't work. So I give it a 4 out of 10. I'm sorry if I've insulted anybody. Please give us your opinions in the comments. I'm sure that there are huge fans out there who absolutely love Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
These are just our opinions and our experiences only. You may have a different experience when you go, but just trying to let you know of some issues that we found that are universal, and maybe some that are more susceptible to the time and our experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anywhere in the middle, you got to choose between Williamsburg and Dollywood. Go to Dollywood. Dollywood is much better park, much better ran, much better organized, better food, better rides. Just, I mean, it's just a better park. So, yeah, just it's not great. The good, the bad, and the ugly about Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Do you have anything else to add to this, Robin? We have rambled today.
I don't.
I think we just did our longest podcast ever.
Probably. Charles is rambling. Not me at all.
You rambled a little bit as well.
No, guys, we're so glad that you're here with us and you
Shut up.
stuck around this long. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe before you leave. Hit us up on all of the Spotify's and Apple, wherever you listen.
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh my gosh, this guy. And until next time, friends, we'll see you later. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. What the?
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I'm just going to let you keep going. All right. See you guys. Bye.